It's my privilege this morning to introduce you to Steve Ellis and his wife Karen and their daughter Lizzie, who are here with us this morning. Some of you may know Daryl Anderson, Peter Anderson's son, Janet Robbins' brother. These guys are good friends of Daryl from church, and they've graciously come out to share with us this morning. They're currently doing some missionary work in West Asia. And I'll hand over to you, Steve.
Well, thank you very much for having me here this morning. Now, I'm just going to put the timer on to start. You can be the judge of what that means. They say that confession is good for the soul but bad for the reputation. But I'm going to confess something straight away because I can't avoid it. You'll find out anyway. Okay. I'm from New Zealand. Okay. My wife is the head guy, so she comes from Taree on the North Coast. So, but I'm from New Zealand. I grew up in a small city in New Zealand, in a church. And one of the things that kind of intrigued me is I would hear the verse, where Peter said, "I will build my church, and the gates of hell will not prevail against us." I kind of grew up in a community that kind of had the idea that the world was against us and the world was coming for us. And that what that passage actually meant was that the gates of hell were coming for us. They were advancing towards us. But we would be faithful and we would hang on. I didn't realise until much later that the verses mean the exact opposite of that. What those verses actually mean is that the gates of hell, Jesus and his people are going towards those, breaching those gates, and going in, and they get the people out of the gates of hell. So that's what the verse really meant, but I kind of understood the opposite when I was growing up. Now, the verses that we just read are some of the most formative verses, I think, in my ministry. Paul here in 2 Timothy is talking to Timothy. It's likely his last ever letter that he wrote. He died probably very shortly after that. As you read on through the book, he's actually aware of that. He's aware that his time has probably come. So just like in the movies, when somebody's on death's door and you listen to their last words because they're very important, these really are the last words, some of the last words of Paul to Timothy. Now, one of the things he's referred to with Timothy earlier on is that Timothy has been given a gift. He's to fan it into flame and use that gift. Well, now what he's got to do with that gift is use it and actually build into the lives of others. Paul said, these things which you've heard me teach in the presence of many faithful witnesses. In other words, Paul had taught Timothy, and he taught a whole stack of other people as well. If you read Paul on some of his missionary journeys, there's one passage in Acts where it lists 7 different people that Paul was travelling with. Now, they're not just coming along for the ride, they're there to kind of learn from Paul. So Paul's teaching many people, including Timothy, but then he said, Timothy's job is to be able to find faithful people and pass on to them what he has learned. And in fact, not just teach them so that they know it in their heads, but they know it well enough that they will be able to teach it on to others also. In other words, the kingdom of God grows through multiplication, not addition. Even if Billy Graham were alive today and we had many, many Billy Grahams, we would not reach the whole world through one person preaching. The responsibility is with all of us. Similarly, everyone who is a believer in Jesus has been given a gift. Now, if you're young, you may not even know what that gift is. In fact, that's what Paul said to Timothy, is to fan it into flame. What does that mean? Well, you build fires, and you have a very small fire at the beginning. The idea is to fan it into flame to make it grow bigger. So we've all been given gifts and abilities. Our job is to discover what that gift is and fan it into flame, and then in turn not only do that, but also pass that on to others as well. So often that passing on to others doesn't come as we're a little bit older. We need to get good at it ourselves first. So I think this command it cuts two ways. He's told to preach the word, and whether we say, well, I have the gift of evangelist or not. Some people do have the gift of evangelism, but we're all called to witness. We're all called to share amongst the people that we know. But also we've been given often other gifts too. We may be good Bible teachers, we may be good administrators and know how to serve in that way. So our job is to both do that and to find others that we can teach and equip that they might do that also. And Paul says to Timothy, you'll know you've been successful when you've got this to the fourth generation. Right? So that only then can you be sure that the people have really caught the vision. Paul then goes on to talk about three different people, the soldier, the athlete, and the farmer. And he talks about these three people, and then he says, I want you to think about it. Just think about this illustration that I've given you. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to think about it. What do those three people have in common? The soldier, the athlete, and the farmer. There's probably more things than this, but one of the things that they all have in common is that they all live their lives strategically. If you read about all these people, the soldier knows what he's doing. Right? He's under a commanding officer, and he knows the direction he's going in. The athlete also has to plan. I'm right here in the farming community, so I won't tell you anything about farming. You'll be able to tell me lots about farming, but I'm guessing you need to plan. You need to plan ahead and think about what you're going to do. About 20 kilograms ago, I ran a marathon, and it was also about 20 years ago as well. But certainly 20 kilograms ago, I ran a marathon. Now, I happen to know that I could run 5 kilometres, and I knew that I could do that for probably about 30 k's, and then I would figure out, like glycogen disappears and you slow down. So I figured that if I could run 5 kilometres, the whole 42 kilometres, it would take me 3.5 hours. I'm not a particularly fast runner. But I also knew that I would probably slow down. So my aim was to run the marathon in under 4 hours. I thought if I could get under 4 hours, that would be good. And so one of the ways, and I read up, how do you train for a marathon? Well, one thing, you don't go and run 42 kilometres every day. That's not how you train for a marathon. You run 30 kilometres about twice a week, or you build up to that. And so I was, the first one I was in Sydney, the second one I was in a large West Asian country, training up for that. And it involved lots of early morning runs to cover 30 kilometres, which took a long time. And so the day came, I went on the run, and sure enough, I ran pretty well for the first 30 k's, and then I slowed down. And so I would walk for a little bit, and then I ran for a little bit, and I ate the food to get my blood glucose back up. And finally, I stumbled through the stadium that was being prepared for the Olympics. This is how long ago that was. And finally stumbled over the line at 3:55:08. I later ran one in West Asia, which was billed as the world's only intercontinental marathon. We started in one continent and finished in another continent. Not too many marathons around the world like that. But the point I'm trying to make is that you need to think and plan and strategize. First of all, you need to know yourself. I'm no super athlete. I'm not one that will run 2-hour marathons. I never thought I'd ever run a 2-hour marathon. My aim was to run a sub 4-hour marathon. which is not particularly fun. But I had to prepare, and I had to know when it would be difficult, when I might slow down and not panic about that, but just try and keep running. So I guess, so that's what I learned from running that marathon. The Christian walk is much the same. We need to know, we need to prepare ourselves. And so if you're young and you're being asked to do things in church, don't automatically say no because you think, well, I've never done that, or I don't know how to do that. It could be a good opportunity to learn. So you need to prepare yourself, that's one thing. You need to pace yourself as well. In life, our walk with Jesus is a marathon. It's not a 100-yard sprint. My daughter Lizzie is a sprinter, and she would prefer that life were a 100-yard sprint because she can go fast. But the Christian walk is more like a marathon. So just to sum up then, Paul gives the example that his race is just about over. And he says, he's about to die. Right? He's chained up, he's in prison, he's about to die. And you might think, well, that's a bit gloomy. But he finishes on a very positive note. He says, look, I'm not really in prison. But the Word of God is not in chains. In fact, the very verses he's talked about earlier illustrate that, because he has been able to pass the gospel on to Timothy and many others. So even though his particular race is finished, the race for the gospel to reach the whole world is not finished. In fact, it's multiplied through him. So I guess the best way then to kind of see the Christian life is really like a relay marathon. Okay, all of us, we run a marathon, and we've got to take that baton, or baton, however you pronounce it, and then pass it on to others. Except it's not quite like a normal one. We've got lots of batons, and we need to pass it on to lots of different people, and then they too will run their race. And so really that is the way that the whole world will be reached. So just to finish off, I'm reading through the Old Testament at the moment, some of the major prophets, Ezekiel and Isaiah, and one of the things that really strike me is a particular phrase that just comes up again and again and again. And it'll say a whole bunch of things, and then it'll say, and then they will know that I am the Lord. And then they will know that I am the Lord. One of the things that God is committed to doing in this world, most of all, is that we be known. And so when we join with Him in that, we're not doing something that's our idea. We're actually joining in on His idea, and His idea is that the gospel goes to the whole world. So we don't need to worry about whether our individual efforts amount to much or not. The most important thing is that God is committed to making His name known in the whole world. And whatever our contribution is, it is a contribution to what He is doing in the world, which at the end of the day is the most important thing. So I'm going to finish there. We're going to show a short video of where we are and some of the